Hi, my name's Mary Brennan. I'm a technical writer for Microsoft SQL Server. In this video, I'll show you how to modify the measures, attributes, and hierarchies in a cube. You can control how measures are displayed to users by setting formatting properties. In the Internet Sales Measure group, click Order Quantity and click Properties. In the Format String list, type $, comma, $. The grid view lets me select multiple measures at the same time by holding down the Control key. In the Format String list, select Currency. Select Unit Price Discount PCT, and then select %. Change the name property to Unit Price Discount Percentage. Change the name to Tax Amount. Next, I'll modify the attributes in the date dimension. I'll add a named calculation to a table in the data source view. A named calculation is a SQL expression that appears as a column in the table. Named calculations let you extend existing tables in the data source view without modifying the table in the underlying data source. In the data source view, select New Named Calculation. I'll call it Simple Date. The statement combines the year, month, and day values from the full date alternate key column. The Simple Date named calculation appears in the list of columns in the customer table with an icon that indicates that it's a named calculation. Later, we'll use this new column as the displayed name for the full date alternate key attribute. Select Explore Data to view the Simple Date column values. After you've created a named calculation, you can use it as the property of an attribute. I'll change the name column property of Date Key to use the Simple Date named calculation. Click the Date Key attribute, and then click in the Name column property field and click the ellipsis button. Select Simple Date, and then click OK. You create a new hierarchy by dragging attributes from the Attributes pane to the Hierarchies pane. I'll create a hierarchy using the calendar year, calendar semester, calendar quarter, English month name, and date key attributes. I'll rename the hierarchy to calendar date, and then I'll rename the English month name level to calendar month, and I'll rename the date key level to date. We won't be using the full date alternate key attribute, so I'll delete it. You should define attribute relationships between attributes if the underlying data supports it. Defining attribute relationships speeds up dimension, partition, and query processing. Click the Attribute Relationships tab. I'll create a new attribute relationship between English month name and calendar quarter because there's a relationship between months and quarters because a quarter contains months. Set the relationship type to rigid because relationships between the members will not change over time. In other words, months will always stay in the same quarter. I'll create an attribute relationship between calendar quarter and calendar semester, and then I'll do the same with calendar semester and calendar year. Next, I'll create user-friendly name columns that will be used by the English month name, calendar quarter, and calendar semester attributes. Switch to the data source view. I'll create a named calculation called month name that concatenates the month and year into a new column in the date table. Next, I'll create a named calculation called calendar quarter description that concatenates the calendar quarter and year for each quarter. Finally, I'll create a named calculation called calendar semester description that concatenates the calendar semester and year for each semester. The key columns property specifies the columns that represent the key for the attribute. The name columns property specifies the columns that represent the name. Here, I'll show you how to define key columns and name columns. Open the Dimension Structure tab for the date dimension. For the English month name attribute, click in the Key Columns field and then click the Browse button. I make it so that the English month name and calendar year columns will now be used as key columns. Next, I'll set the name column property of the English month name attribute to month name, which is the named calculation that we created earlier. I'll set the key columns for the calendar quarter attribute to calendar quarter and calendar year, and I'll set the name column property to the calendar quarter description named calculation. Now, I'll set the key columns for the calendar semester attribute to calendar semester and calendar year. And then I'll set its name column property to calendar semester description. You have to deploy the changes and then reprocess the related objects before you can view the changes. Click Deploy Analysis Services Tutorial. Wait for the Deployment Completed Successfully message, and then click the Browser tab of Dimension Designer. You must click the Reconnect icon. Review the members in the attribute hierarchy. Notice that the names are more user-friendly because we created a named calculation. The members are not sorted in chronological order. They are sorted by quarter and then by year. Next, we'll change the behavior to sort the members chronologically. We'll change the sort order by changing the order of the columns that make up the composite key. Select the Dimension Structure tab for the date dimension, and then select the calendar semester attribute. The value for the order by property is set to key. With the composite key, the ordering of the member keys is based on the value of the first member key and then on the value of the second member key. In other words, the members of the calendar semester attribute hierarchy are sorted first by this semester and then by year. We need to change the order of the keys specified in the key columns property so that the members of the attribute hierarchy are sorted first by year and then by semester. Do the same thing for the calendar quarter attribute so that the members of the attribute hierarchy are sorted first by year and then by quarter. And finally, do the same thing for English month name so that the members are sorted first by year and then by month. Deploy the project, and when it has successfully completed, click the Browser tab in Dimension Designer. Click the Reconnect icon. Notice that the members of these hierarchies are now sorted in chronological order. Now, let's browse the Analysis Services tutorial cube. Switch to Cube Designer. Click the Browser tab and then click Reconnect. The left pane of the designer shows the metadata for the cube. The two panes to the right of the metadata pane are the filter pane and the data pane. Drag the sales amount measure to the data pane. Drag the Product Model Lines user hierarchy to the Drop Column Fields Here area, and then expand the road member of the product line level of this user hierarchy. The user hierarchy provides a path to the product name level. Drag the Customer Geography hierarchy to the Drop Row Fields Here area. Expand United States to view the sales by region, and expand Oregon to view the sales details by city within the state of Oregon. Drag the OrderDate.CalendarDate hierarchy to the Drop Filter Fields Here area. Select the checkbox for February 2002. Internet sales by region and product line for the month of February 2002 are displayed. Right-click the 10 plus miles member and then click Add to Subcube Area to only show data for customers who commute more than 10 miles. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it helpful. For more information, you might want to take a look at the Analysis Services tutorial on the MSDN website.